Hey everyone, welcome to Old Iron Garage and thank you for tuning in. So tonight I am continuing on the McCulloch 3818 Chainsaw Revival. We're going to pick up almost where we left off. I did do a little bit off camera, nothing too exciting. So let's dive in and see what I did. Alright, here we are. So, if you watched the last video, you would be able to tell what I did off camera, and that was to put the handle on. It wasn't anything too exciting. Couple things to note. I did make a couple repairs. Here, I put in a missing screw, and also I replaced the broken anti-vibe spring. So you can see here, there's the one that came out. Both of those parts I got from the bag of 3818 McCulloch 3818 hardware that I got on eBay. So anyways, let's continue. Alrighty, so what's next? The next step is to get the carburetor sorted, to get that cleaned and ready to go back on. So I don't know if the diaphragm in this is any good, but I do have a carb kit, and I'm hoping that anything I might need is in here. I'm hoping that at least the diaphragm is the same. This is for a Zama carburetor. This is the kit that when I ordered parts, I did not have the carburetor in front of me. So I Googled, you know, what carb kit to buy for this saw. And it only showed one carb kit. So I thought, okay, well, it only came with one carburetor then. There's only one carburetor option, so I should be fine to just order that kit. Apparently, there was at least two different carburetors that came on these. Both of them, fortunately, were Zamas. As far as I can tell, there was two different carbs they can get, and both of them were Zama carburetors. So, one of them is, I guess, an RB39, and the other one is a C1Q. So I Googled earlier this evening if they would take the same carb kit, and I guess some parts will interchange. So hopefully I have a carburetor, or at least a diaphragm in here that'll work for us. We'll find out. Yeah, anyway. First thing is to set down a nice clean paper towel. Let's go ahead and start disassembling. Come on. Trying to get the dirt out of the screw head. There we go. But without depositing it onto my clean paper towel. There's going to be some dirt on here. I just don't want to put any more on here than I have to. So there's not much to these carbs, so we should be able to tell pretty quickly if the diaphragm's going to be the same or not. Trying to be careful as I disassemble, not to damage anything, and I already see a problem. There's a little bit of gummed up fuel right next to my fingernail. It's going to be hard to see, but it's that darker spot right next to the tip of my fingernail. That is a rock hard deposit. There it is. See that there on the pick? So this carburetor definitely needs going through. After somebody gave up on this saw, it's hard telling. There's no way of knowing how long this carburetor has sat since then. Probably should get the right screwdriver. The diaphragm does move, maybe not quite as well as it should. Before I bother disturbing that at all, I'm going to open up this carb kit and see what we have. It wouldn't surprise me too much if most of these parts will interchange. Looks like we're in luck. The diaphragm looks to be identical. Perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it because the new one is way more pliable than this old one. And I just don't want any issues. And there's the gasket that goes with it, so we'll be using that. There's some stuff in here I'm not going to replace because it's not necessary. Like, there's a little screen in here. I can see that that's clean and clear. So as long as fuel flows through it both ways, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not worried about the screen, just what's behind it. You know, like, there's going to be a little port or a passage on the other side of that screen. As long as we get carb cleaner going freely through that port or passage, I'm going to leave that screen well enough alone. The needle and seat, the needle I will reuse as long as it looks to be good. Yeah, I'm really not, when it comes to these little 2-cycle carbs, I'm just not really interested in replacing anything I absolutely don't have to. I really would like to avoid taking out these adjustment screws, but I feel like it would be kind of dumb not to clean behind them. So I'm going to count how many turns until they are all the way in and make a mental note of that. I'm going to tell you guys so you guys can remind me. So the high-speed adjustment, 1/2 turn, 1 full turn, and 1/8 of a turn. So 1 1/8 of a turn. 1 1/8. Remind me, because I am forgetful. The low speed adjustment is 1/2 turn, 1 full turn, and that'd be about 1 1/2 turn. 1 1/2 for the low speed adjustment. Don't forget. Geez, got enough thread on that thing? Do I have everything out that I'm going to take out? It appears so. So I'm going to clean this with some carb cleaner and I will be right back. Oh, nope, not done yet. I have to take these off so I can clean the covers. All right. All right, I will be back. Blech. Mushmouth. I will be back shortly after I clean these parts. I'll see you in just a little bit. All right, I'm back. So while I was out spraying the carburetor and parts with carb cleaner, I heard a pack of coyotes out yipping and howling and stuff, and so I opened the garage door and I stuck my head out the door and I yelled, "Shut up!" And they all stopped. I haven't heard them since. Coyotes are a real problem around here because, like, if you don't have coyotes where you live, what they do is when they're like near a town where there's people, a lot of people and people have pets and stuff, or if they're near like a residence where they know there's like pets, they will like try to lure them out, and then they'll ambush them and eat them, kill them and eat them. So yeah, they're a real problem around here. I've always been a little bit tempted to let my one dog loose on him because I've heard stories about certain dogs that have, larger, more powerful breeds that have been able to take out a small pack of coyotes on their own and, single-handed. And I'm pretty sure my one dog would do it, but he's half Cane Corso and half American Bulldog, and he is just a certified meat missile. Like, his muscles have muscles. And, but, I'm not going to risk my dog's life over a hunch or curiosity. That's just stupid. So, back to carburetors and chainsaws. Alrighty, so this piece on the other side is also kind of like a diaphragm as well, I guess. So it's pretty stiff, so I'm not going to have any choice except to just replace it. So let's replace it. Oh. It'd probably help a lot. Okay, now the needle and seat go on that side. Never mind. I was going to say it'd probably help a lot if I'd put the needle and seat back in first. But no, that goes on the other side. Let's get this side wrapped up. Get the cover on. Then we will deal with the other side. Alright, now the other side. So, looking at this needle and seat, or this needle, let's compare them. They are identical. And I'm going to go ahead and replace it, the needle. The other needle shows a little bit of wear on the rubber tip. So I am going to go ahead and replace that needle. Probably help if I got the lever thing that the needle and spring that holds the needle and seat the correct way, not upside down. There we go. Now it's on correctly. Make sure my screwdriver is clean. This is more of a kind of a down and dirty rebuild. I'm not taking it all the way apart. There's a cover in here that technically should come out, and then that screen on the other side technically should come out, but I generally don't take those out. I try to clean them, put them back together with whatever new parts they need without disturbing those. So now we need the diaphragm and the gasket. I don't remember which way this went. I'm an idiot for not. I took note of it, but then since then I have forgotten. Okay, I see now. Nope. There. That's how it goes. But this has to go on first. And then the diaphragm. And then the cover. So, in theory, this carburetor should be good to go. I really hope that it is. I don't want to have to take it back out. Cinch these down nice and tight. Torqued to spec. Oh wait, nope. Carburetor is not good to go. Not yet. There's a little bit of dirt I forgot to get off. It doesn't matter, it's on the outside, but it's going to bother me. Alright, the reason this is not yet good to go is because the fuel mixture screws are not back in it yet. How many turns were they each? Do you remember? I remember. So I'm going to run them all the way in and then run them back out to where they were. Alright, those are set to where they were before. This should be good to go aside from needing a new gasket, but if you watch the previous video, you will remember that I neglected to order a gasket, so I totally missed that somehow. I've taken the original gasket and I degreased it by hitting it with some brake cleaner, and I'm going to use some RTV on the area where it is damaged to seal it up. I just want to know before I order anything else for this that it's going to be a good running saw, and then I can order the gasket and replace the gasket. So let's go ahead and get this RTV'd in there. After I yeah. Daggone it now. I degrease this gasket surface so the RTV can really stick. Doesn't that kind of look like two-cycle fuel almost? Baja Blast. Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Good stuff. I try not to drink pop too often, but every now and then I just gotta have something carbonated. Ugh. Alrighty. Let's get this thing. Let's get this gasket in there. I have a feeling the cap on this RTV is cracked, so yep, just as I figured. It's dried up. Got to dig out some of this dried up stuff. I will pause the video and bring you back when I'm ready to put some RTV on. I'm back. I got this unplugged. Now we're just going to need a little bit where it's damaged. There's one area where I want to really avoid because there's a hole there that I believe supplies the pulse from the crankcase. I'm going to put a little bit in here where the gasket is split. In between the layers of the gasket. I'm actually gonna apply this stuff most of the way around the gasket very carefully, using this pick, so I can be super careful with it. I do not want to plug that little passage. This is kind of tedious, I know. Okay, there's no passage on the opposite side, so that hole on the opposite side does not matter. Yeah, there's only one small hole that matters. And I don't want to get this stuff anywhere near that hole. Okay, got it. I'm there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the gasket on. Then I'm going to apply RTV to the carburetor. Oh, I just realized there's a step of the process that I forgot, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it right now. That is to reattach this throttle cable. I'm just going to do it right now. Uh-oh. Do we have a problem? Whew, I thought we had a problem for a second. I thought there was like a nut on the bottom side that fell out or something, and that wasn't going to that bolt that holds the throttle cable down wasn't going to go back and thread down again. No, that's not the case. Thank God. Praise the Lord for that. The nut is still there. It just acted like that for a moment, like the nut was loose and fell out or something. I thought I was going to have to take the saw apart. All right. That is in place. Now I can put this gasket on. Kind of carefully press it down. Press it down real good where that hole is. Make sure there's nothing blocking it, and there is not. Good. Now, this is going to go that way. So, I cannot get any RTV around this tiny little hole right here. So, same thing here. Make it go a little faster. I'm going to use my finger for part of it. There's chunks of dried up RTV coming out, so I'm going to try to get those out of the way. Just put a little bit. That's all it's going to take. That should be good. I got just the littlest bit on there, all except for close to that hole. This should be good enough for it to run, and run pretty decent. Now, before I can actually set this down on there, I got to do a couple of things. I have to get the fuel line and the primer bulb line on here. I do have to trim this primer line to length. Do that line first because I feel like that one's going to cause the most amount of problems. I'm actually going to put a little bit of penetrating oil on the actually on both of these fittings where the lines go on, to try to, in hopes to hopefully help it slide on easier. And I don't know if that's really doing me a whole lot of good. At least with this smaller line. This stuff is so difficult to work with. I'll try something. It seems to be working a little bit. Just keep going, don't stop. Get on there. That should be on there enough, really, but I'm going to keep going. Oh, don't do that. Alright, that's about as far as I'm going to get that line. Now I'm going to get the fuel line on that actually feeds the carburetor. And this is going to be a real bear, because this carburetor fuel inlet is massive compared to the line. I am going to have to heat this fuel line. Try to hurry up and jam it on there. And of course I got my finger in my thumb into RTV. But the fuel line is going on. I'm going to have to redo the RTV on this before I can set it on. Ugh. Got it on there. Daggone it. Why did I have to mess that up? The only other thing I have to do, other than fix the RTV and put the carburetor on, is hook up the throttle, and then I should be good to put the carburetor on. Alright, fixed it. So now I'm going to try and get this throttle on here without messing up the RTV again. And the throttle is hooked up. Carburetor is set in place. Now I need to get these screws in and get them started before that carburetor ends up moving. There we go. torqued to spec with my calibrated wrist. Well, we can go ahead and get the clutch on. Let's put this on and see how nicely it spins. Oh yeah. Nice. Still have that little bit of slop, but that might be normal. I don't know. Don't know. And just like we use the, this is left-hand thread. And just like we use that impact to take it off, we're going to use it to put her back on. It's on. Man, that spins so nice now. Let's just go ahead and throw this cover on. That way she looks nice and pretty for us. Something's not lining up quite right. There we go, now it is. Throw the nuts on. There's no bar on there right now, but we'll throw these nuts on so this cover don't vibrate or anything. So that seems to function as it should. Excuse me, if you watch the first video, you'll know that this was missing. The whole chain brake setup was missing. It was just this cover, but no chain brake parts whatsoever. So we're just going to snug those up. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this. We're not going to put the air filter on yet. But let's go ahead and take a look at, just use some 2-cycle fuel. I'm going to clean this part, just because, I cleaned the whole rest of the saw, so may as well clean this too. But we'll go ahead and look at this air filter cover and choke mechanism. see how this works. So what, it literally just how does this work? Ah, that's how it works. It literally just clamps on under there and under this cover and slides like that. That's it. Well, that's pretty simple. Huh. But I'm not putting that on yet. Don't believe there's any other parts in there that we need right now. So we still need to put on our recoil and our handle. So let's get the recoil on. Man, this saw has good compression. You know, in the first video I noted that when looking through the exhaust port, I could still see a little bit of factory cross hatching, and that the exhaust port side of the piston and piston ring looked great. But I also noted that after cleaning up the muffler, there's some surface rust, but there's still a good deal of factory paint on there, or factory finish, whatever it is. There's still a good deal of that on there. So I do believe that this is indeed a low hour saw. That somebody ran into problems with it early on, tried to fix it, failed miserably, and then it wound up being discarded. Get in there. Some dirt that is keeping the Torx screwdriver from going into the head of the screw. So I had to kind of push and wiggle it around. And this one's a little bit tighter than the others. Okay, it's on there nice and tight. So I just want to make sure it was in all the way. I was just looking to make sure that I knew where the hardware was for the handle. Then I remembered, oh yeah, that I've actually put back into the saw. So there's one here. I'm actually just going to go ahead and throw that one on right now. Man, I need a more comfortable chair out here. Legs are cramping up again. And then there's two. I'll go over here. Alright, well, I think that we should be okay now to toss some fuel in it. Try to fire it up. The only thing we're missing at this point is air filter. Air filter. The air filter cover, the top cover, and bar and chain. But there's enough here to fire it up and run it. So let's do just that. Yeah, like that. I'm not going to fill it up all the way with fuel. And actually, I'm going to... If there is a fuel leak in here, it shouldn't be a problem in theory, because all combustion air for that heater comes from the outside and then goes back outside. But just to be safe, I'm going to turn it off. That is more than enough. And I've already got a bottle filled, so I can bottle feed the carburetor until the carburetor gets primed. Until the fuel line gets primed and reaches the carburetor. At this time, I'm not going to bother putting any bar and chain oil in it. Gonna see if my primer bulb works. Primer bulb is working. Carburetor is priming. So I'm not going to bother to bottle feed the carburetor. There's no need. The primer bulb is priming. So let's see if this thing will fire up. Ignition is on. Give her another couple of squirts. By the way, the handle feels much sturdier now that I've replaced that broken anti-vibe spring. Let's see if she'll fire up. Also, I need to finish tightening the spark plug. But since we're messing with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and put just a little squirt of fuel directly into the cylinder. Sorry, I know you can't see what I'm doing right now. You're not missing anything exciting. I just put a little squirt in there to get it to fire off, to help bring the fuel from the primer bulb into the cylinder. Then basically means I shouldn't have to pull as many times to get it to fire. Good and snug. Double check that the ignition is on. Had the choke shut. Oops. Okay, so I wonder if I've lost spark. I know that when I first brought this home, it did have spark. Oh, ouch. Oh, no. Well, that's not too bad to repair. bring you guys back in a little bit. I accidentally ripped the spark plug boot off, which means I ripped that off. I'll bring you back in a little bit. Okay, we do have spark. So, we should have ignition then. It should fire. Prime it a little more. Of course, it could be flooded. So, let's carefully this time take off the spark plug boot. Take out the spark plug. It's pretty wet, so I know there was fuel in there. Let's air it out. I see some fuel coming out. Alright, without priming or anything, let's see if she'll fire up now. I must have just had it flooded. It's not surprising. I primed it and I put a little fuel in there, but I didn't think I put enough fuel in the cylinder to make that much of a difference. Come on, stay on there, you booger. Heck. Whatever. It's snug at least. It should be good enough to fire. Ignition is on. Well, help me understand. I'm just going to prime it a little bit now. Come on now. What the? Alrighty. Something's not right. I'll bring you guys back in a little bit. Alright, so I'm unsure of what the issue was, but it'll run now. So anyways, I'm sorry you weren't here for the first start. I didn't think it was going to fire up, and it did. So, alright. I didn't run it very long. But yeah, let's fire this bad boy up. Apparently the throttle sticks a little. I'm going to have to open that handle up and figure out what's going on there. Something's not right. Also, the kill switch is not killing for some reason. Alrighty. Well, there it is. You heard it run. I think the whole neighborhood did. With a very free-flowing exhaust. Modified muffler. Wow. Probably shouldn't have modified that muffler. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sell this thing now. I mean, yeah. And by that, I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to want it. So, a couple issues need sorted out yet. Obviously, the kill switch isn't killing. I had to choke it to kill it. Would not stay running unless it was choked. So that I had to back out the high-speed screw, the high-speed adjustment screw on the carb to get it to rev up and to keep running with it without it being choked. And it won't idle down like it should. So I suspect crank seals. It's acting like it's got a big vacuum leak, so I suspect crank seals. I mean, that could have happened if it was sitting for a long time. You know, since somebody tried to repair it and failed. Could have happened then, or that could have been one of the reasons why they stopped using it and left it for dead. I don't know. But I feel like it's worth putting a pair of crank seals into, even though I got to dive all the way back into it. Yeah. I'm pretty happy. I mean, with the progress I've made. I mean, you've seen where it was when I started, and look at it now. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So I guess the only thing I can do now is, I mean, I'm this far into it, I may as well keep going and finish fixing it. Anyway, well, that's it for this video. There will be another video on this in the future. When I get around to ordering crank seals. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, what you're thinking. Do you think it's crank seals with what you've seen and what I described? You believe that it needs crank seals. If there's anything that you think that I should have done differently, or you've seen anything that I missed, let me know. If you like the kind of content that you see in this channel, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Later.